In this video, we are looking at practice 10 in the Math Tabe Tutor Practice Book 1. So if you take a look at your table of contents, it tells us that practice 10 starts on page 22. So let's turn to page 22 and take a look at these equivalent fractions. Number 1. Tamara is cooking chili, and the recipe calls for 2/3 tablespoons of chili powder. Which amount is equal to 2/3 tablespoons? Well, the first thing I want you to notice is this key word, or really it's a key phrase, equal to. Now, when you get into algebra, you're going to rely very much on those kinds of phrases. So let's go ahead and start looking for them now. And to do this problem, I'm going to move over to a sheet of notebook paper that I've put in here. And let me put a number 1. We are comparing to 2/3. And my choices are 2/6, 4/9, 5/8, and 6/9. And we want to know which of these is equal to our 2/3. So let's come in here and try this first one. Now this one, we can look at that and know that those are not the same thing. If the numerators are the same, that's the top numbers, the bottom numbers, the denominators, would have to be the same. So I can tell you that this is in fact not equal. 4/9. This one's a good possibility because 9 and 3, those bottom numbers, are in the same family. They're related by multiplication. So let's see if this one could possibly be the one I'm looking for. And remember, we're comparing that to 2/3. So in this particular one, I am breaking the 9 down to a 3. In other words, I'm taking that 9 on the bottom, breaking that down to a 3. You could also do it right here. You're breaking the 4 down to a 2. But I want to do the denominators because that will help me in the next lesson. So what's happened here, I've said 9 divided by 3 is 3. So let's try that same thing on top. 4 divided by 3. Does that equal 2? Well, no, that does not. So that is not the answer that I'm looking for. Okay, this one, I don't really like this one because there's nothing that's going to relate those two fractions. I can't break an 8 down with division to get a 3. I can't break a 5 down to get a 2. So these are not going to be the 2. So it must be this one, but we need to be able to prove it with math. So let's see. To get from 9 down to 3, I'm going to divide by 3. So that checks out. And can I do that on top? 6 divided by 3 is 2. So this is the one that we're looking for. D is equal to 2/3. Now, your instructor may show you a different way to do this, but since we are going to need to find common denominators on the next page, I'm using this particular method. But if your teacher has told you to do it a different way, that is fine. Number 1 is D. Number 2. Let me go ahead and mark this one. Antonio bikes for 3/10 kilometer. Juan rides the same distance. How far does Juan ride? Well, they're telling us that Antonio and Juan are equal. So we're going to compare these fractions to 3/10 to see which one we need. So let me come over here. The page that you see now, you are welcome to print when I finish with it. The others you can't because they are property of TABE. We purchase the workbooks, but we can't reproduce them. But this page you can print if you want it, because this is just my handwriting. Okay, A is 3/30. Well, let's compare that to 3/10. And I can tell you that those cannot be equal. Top numbers are the same, so the bottom would have to be the same. B is 3/20. Can that be the same as 3/10? No. C, I have 6/20, and we're comparing that to 3/10. This one's a possibility. Let's take a look here. 20 divided by 2 is 10, and 6 divided by 2 is 3. That's the one I'm looking for. But let's take a look at D in case you were thinking that one might work. Let's see why it would not. I have 6/10, and we're comparing that to 3/10. Well, here you can see why. It would be 10 divided by 1 to get 10, but 6 divided by 2 to get 3. And those numbers there in the middle, the red numbers, have to be the same because that's what would equal to 1. So the answer to number 2 is C. Okay, number 3. Ray paints 6/15 of a baby's room misty mint. What is an equivalent fraction to the amount of room Ray paints? So we're looking to equivalent of 6/15. So let's try them. And I think this time I'll go ahead and keep my pattern. 6/15 is the one we're comparing to. And our first choice is 2/5. Our second choice is 1/3. Our third choice is 1/4. And our fourth choice is 2/9. And immediately I like A because that 15 and 5 are in the same family. But let's see, because 3 and 15 are in the same family. The 1/4, I would be surprised. And 2/9, again, that's not my first choice. But let's see what we have. So 2, this time I need to build up. I'm taking a lowest term and building it up to a higher term. So we're going to multiply this time. 2 times 3 is 6, and 5 times 3 is 15. That's the one I want. But let's look at these others and see what we have. This one, I would say 1 times 6 would give me that 6, and 3 times 5 would give me 15. Those numbers have to be the same, so this is not the answer. This one, 4 times something is 15. That won't work. There's nothing that will work here, so that is not the answer. 2 times 3 is 6. That would work. But 9 times something is 15. That one would not work. So the answer is A. Now, if you are fortunate enough to have a calculator, here's how to do that one on the calculator. Let me draw you some buttons here. Whoa, that did not go well. Let's try this. Bear with me 1 second. Let me do a little copy and paste right there. I want to keep these buttons separate from the problem so we don't get those mixed in. And this is a relatively simple process on the calculator. I believe it takes 5 keystrokes, but I may have to add one. Let's see. It would be all clear. And we want to take that 6 ABC 15 and reduce that. So you just press equals and it will bring you down to 2/5. So on that one, if you have a calculator, it will help you. The answer to number 3 is A. Number 4. During the month of April, living in Seattle, Washington. Let me start over there. During the month of April, people living in Seattle, Washington, put a comma there because that state, enjoy sunny days 14/30ths of the time. There are 30 days in April, so that's where that 30 is coming from. Which fraction is equal to the amount of sunny days in April? So we're comparing everything to 14 over 30. And this is number 4. We're comparing to 14/30ths. And A is 7/30ths. So compare that to 14/30ths. Could those be equal? No. Bottom numbers are the same, so the top numbers would have to be the same. 3/12ths. I don't think that's going to be the one I want because 12 and 30 are not related directly in multiplication, but we'll see. 6/18ths and 14/30ths, and then 7/15ths and 14/30ths. So we know it is not A. Let's try B. So I'm looking for 3 times something. I'm building up, and there's nothing that would give me a 14. Just like with the 12, there's nothing there that would multiply up to 30. So this is not the one I want. 6 times something is 14. Again, there's nothing that will do that without a decimal. 18, same thing with 30. That is not the one I'm looking for. So I have high hopes for this one. 7 times 2 would be 14, and 15 times 2 is 30. So this is the choice that I'm looking for. The answer to number 4 is D. Knowing your multiplication tables will help you tremendously on these. And during study time, you're welcome to use a multiplication chart. You just cannot use that on your test. Number 5. Trisha, Jeremy, Jay, and Mitchell want to see who can juggle oranges the longest. And I'm going to do a little highlighting here. Trisha juggles for 6/8 of a minute. Jeremy juggles for 3/5 of a minute. Jay juggles for 4/9 of a minute. And let's get another color for Mitchell, who juggles for 15/25 of a minute. Which person juggles for the same amount of time as Mitchell? Now here's Mitchell, so we are comparing to 15/25. We're looking for an equivalent number to 15/25. Now I'm going to show you how I would do this, and then we'll look at the answers. I'm going to come over to my paper where I have some room to write, and I'm going to list the information that I'm given. Let's take Tricia first. And Tricia's fraction is 6/8. And then Jeremy. Jeremy's fraction is 3/5. Jay is 4/9. And then we're going to compare all of them to Mitchell, who is 15/25. So I'm going to put Mitchell's number down beside all of these so we can compare those. So Mitchell is all of these. And hopefully you can see the one that I like. But let's see what we have here. 6 times something is 15. Not going to happen without a decimal. 8 times something is 25. This is not the one I'm looking for. 3 times 5 is 15. 5 times 5 is 25. This is the one. 4 times something is 15. Can't do it. 9 times something is 25. Can't do it. So the one I'm looking for is Jeremy. Mitchell and Jeremy are on equal terms. So let's look back here and pick our answer. We know that it's Jeremy, so it can't be A or B. C is true. D is not true, so we want to go with answer C. So do the math the way you know how to do it, and then compare it to your answer choices. Number 6, which statement is true? Okay, I'm going to do this one right here. 7/28 equals 14/28. No. 3/21 equals 9/21. No. 7/14 is equal to 1/2. Well, let's see what we've got. This time we're breaking down. We're going to smaller numbers. So 7 divided by itself is 1. And 14 divided by 7 is 2. I like that one. But let's check the last one just to be safe. 3/15 breaks down to 1/3. Well, this is 3 divided by 3 is 1. But 15 divided by 5 is 3. So those are possible, but we need these to be the same digit. So this is a no. And the equivalent one, the true statement, is C for number 6. Number 6 is C. If you have a calculator, you could put these in to see if they equal. Okay, number 7. Beatrice and Gertrude are both making quilts and each have completed the same amount. Beatrice has finished 6/18 of her quilt. How much of Gertrude's quilt is finished? So again, same amount as 6/18. I'm going to go to my paper for this one. Again, you are welcome to print this page when we're finished if you would like to. So 6/18 is the comparison fraction. We have 3/5, 1/3, 2/7, or 1/4 to choose from. So let's see. I'm going to bring that 6/18 in here, and this time we're raising to higher terms. 3 times 2 is 6, but 5 will not multiply up to 18. So this is not the one that I'm looking for. 6/18, let's compare. Let me just write that down. Um, 1 times 6 is 6. 3 times 6 is 18. There it is. But let me finish these. 2 times 3 would be 6, and 7 and 18 are not related. 1 times 6 is 6, but 4 and 18 are not related. So the answer to number 7, sorry guys, I'm trying to find. The answer to number 7 is B, 1/3. Number 8. Which two fractions are equal to 4/16? Two fractions are equal to 4/16. So we have quite a few to choose from. And I think I'm just going to put these right in here. I believe I have enough room. So let's take, to start with, we have A, which is 2/8, and we're comparing that to 4/16. And this one's looking pretty good because 2 times 2 is 4, and 8 times 2 is 16. So I like A as one of my choices. Okay, B is 3/6. So let's try that one. We have 3/6, and we want to know if that is equal to 4/16. Well, is there anything that you can multiply to get from 3 to 4? There's not. Same here. So this is not one of my choices. C is 4/10. I can tell you immediately that this is a no because we have 4's on top. The bottom numbers would have to be the same for those to be equal. So D is 5/25, and we're comparing that to 4/16. And there is nothing that will divide those. They're not in the same fact family. E is 6/24. Oh boy, they threw us a curve on this one. That's okay though. I'm going to skip that one for just a minute. And let's look at this last one. E is your other answer. Let me just go ahead and tell you that. And I'm going to come back and explain why that is so. F, I have 7/21 and 4/16, and there is nothing that will link those two. So when we come back to E, this one is not as simple as just being able to divide. And they threw a little curve in here on us. Here's the deal. This is not lowest terms. In all of the examples we've had, the lower fraction has been all the way to lowest terms, and that is not the case here. So let me show you the best way I can think of to explain this is, let me think a second, because I wasn't prepared for this particular one. I think I'm going to show it to you two different ways. What I want to do with these two, there are a couple of ways that you can look at this, and this is one of your answers. I think the easiest way that I can explain it is to go ahead and simplify these to lowest terms. Now, if you have a calculator, go ahead and use the calculator. But if you don't, to get this one to lowest terms, I'm going to divide top and bottom by 6. And that brings me down to 1/4. So if you look at lowest terms for this one, it is 1/4. Let's do the same with 4/16. Now I won't divide by 6, I'll divide by a 4 on this one. And this is going to bring me down to 4 into 4 is 1, 4 into 16 is 4. So both of these reduce to lowest terms. They both reduce to 1/4. And that tells me that they are equivalent fractions. This is a tough one, guys. I wasn't prepared for that one. I was just coasting along like we've been doing these. And this one, the first one the A, I can do with my shortcut. But E takes a little bit of work. The answers here are A and E. You are looking for the two fractions that equal 4/16. Okay, and I think I'm going to take these out. That's a lot of bubbles to have to look at. Number 9. Darcy uses 3/5 bag of fertilizer in her garden. What is an equivalent fraction to the amount of fertilizer Darcy uses? So we're looking for an equivalent to 3/5. And I think I'm going to put that one over on this page. 3/5 is what I'm comparing to. And I have 5/15, 8/24, 11/20, and 21/35. So these are getting a little bit harder in my opinion. Okay, so 5/15, we're taking that down to 3/5. That would be using division. 15 divided by 3 would give me that 5, but on the top that would not hold true. On this one, we can't divide there. Those are not in the same factor families. Same thing here. The 20 I could say 20 divided by 4 is 5, but that won't work on the top. So hopefully this fellow right here will be the one that we're looking for. And it is 21 divided 7 will give me the 3. And then 35 divided 7 would give me the 5. So the answer here to number 9 is D, as in dog. Go back over here. I hope I'm not making you seasick with this flipping back and forth. I just hate squeezing stuff in. I like to have plenty of space to do what I need to do. Answer to number 9 is D. Number 10. Martina catches fish 5/9 of the time she casts out her line. Which fraction is equivalent to 5/9? Which fraction is equivalent? There's that key word. Equivalent to 5/9. So same process. Let's find a little bit of space right here. 5/9 is my fraction to compare. So I have 9/27. I have 8/32. 25/45, and 12/20. So this is going to be breaking down in each scenario, which means I would use division to get to lower terms. 27 divide 9 or divide 3 would give me 9, but that won't work on the top. Nothing there or there would work. This one looks good. 25 divided by 5 is 5. 45 divided by 5 is 9. That's the one. And this one, there's nothing I can think of that would work. So the answer to number 10 is C. Number 11. A flight from Boston, Massachusetts. Please put your commas in there after the state name. That happens when you have a city and a state together. You need the comma after the state also. A flight from Boston, Massachusetts to Miami, Florida is 36/40 seconds full. So what that could mean is that if the plane has 42 seats, 36 of them are filled. What is an equivalent fraction to the amount of the plane that is full? So equivalent fraction 36/42. And I'm just going to pull those right in here to save a little bit of space on my paper. So 36/40 seconds. I'm building up from smaller to larger, so that's multiplying. 4 nines are 36, but there's nothing there that would work. 5/6, 36 and 42. 6 times 7 is 42, but that will not work on the top. I like this one because 6 times 6 is 36 and 7 times 6 is 42. This one I have neither of those will work to multiply. So looks like this one is C. That was number 11. The answer is C. Number 12. The table shows statistics from a basketball game. So let's take just a second to look at this table. And I see that it is actually a table that duplicates itself. It divides right here. Let me make that a little darker. And then on the bottom you have it's continued. Most of the time the table will go across the page, I guess for the purpose of saving space. They didn't do that, but that's okay. We can still work with it. So it shows me players and then the fraction of shots made to the fraction of shots taken. So this is a common basketball statistic. If you play basketball or you watch it, you look at that shot percentage, and that's found by dividing the shots that you make by the shots that you attempt. And they're showing me this for 6 different players. We have Mark, Eric, Todd, Kirk, Brian, and Lee. So we have 6 players, and we're supposed to find the 2 of them whose scores are equal to 4/5. So we're looking for 2 players that are equal to 4/5. All right, so let's take a look here. I'm comparing Mark, who has 22 shots out of 30. And we want to know if that equals 4/5. Well, 40 divided by 6 would give me 5, but that doesn't hold true on the top of those fractions. So it isn't Mark. Eric was 20/25. And let's see if we can make that equal to 4/5. I like this one because 20 divided by 5 is 4, and 25 divided by 5 is 5. So this is one of my answers right here. Eric is one of our folks. But we need 2 of them. So let's check Todd. Todd was 28/32. And I can get this one to work on top. I can do 28 divided 7, but that won't hold true on the bottom. So Todd is not my other one. 34/40. This is for Kirk. And we want to see if that will reduce to 4/5. The 40 will go by 8, but that would not hold true on top. So it isn't Kirk. Brian is 35/42. And we're comparing that to 4/5. Sorry. No, this one won't work top or bottom. You can't divide those. So it must be Lee, but let's see. Let's be sure, because sometimes I make mistakes, and this will help me find those mistakes if I have. Divide 9 and divide 9. So my other person is Lee. Eric and Lee are tied. And 4 out of 5 is 80%. That is pretty darn good. Better than I can do these days. Alright, so the answer to number 12 is both B and F, Eric and Lee. Number 13. Javier reads 16/24 of the newspaper. Mia reads the same amount as Javier. How much of the newspaper does Mia read? Same amount as Javier, just in different terms. So 16/24. I think I'm just going to stack these up right here beside my answers and see if I can make this happen. Well, 1 times 16 would be 16, and 4 times 6 is 24. And that works, but we have to have the same number, top and bottom. 4/9, and again, I'm comparing to what? 16/24. I've got this enlarged so much that I can't see it. Let me be sure of that I'm doing, yes, 16/24. Okay, so 4 times 4 is 16, but 9 times 4 is not 24. So let's try this one. And this one won't work top or bottom. Those are in different fact families. So hopefully it's this one. But we need to prove that in case I've made a mistake. 2/8 are 16 and 3/8 are 24. So the answer here is D. Mia reads 2/3 of the paper, which is equivalent to Javier, just in different terms. Answer to number 13 is D. Number 14. Which two fractions, very important, are not equal to 18/30ths? Now we've been looking for fractions that are equal. Now we're looking for two that are not equal. But it's the same process. You know how to do this. 18/30ths. 3 times 6 is 18, and 5 times 6 is 30. So that one is equal. 6/10ths. We're comparing that to 18/30ths. 6 times 3 is 18, and 10 times 3 is 30. 18 and 30. 2 times 9 is 18, but 3 times 10 is 30. So that's one of them. That one doesn't fit. And then this one, I have 18/30ths. Sorry. So this one is a breaking down, but it can't be done. So that one would also be a not equal. Have to pay attention, guys, to what they're asking you to do. Sometimes you're looking for equal, sometimes you're looking for not equal. So your reading is very important. The answer to number 14 is C and D. Number 15. Walt installs 27 out of 39 of the tiles needed for a floor. What is an equivalent of fraction to the amount of tiles Walt installs? Equivalent fraction. So we want the one that is the same. So I have 27/39ths. And right off the bat, I think I found it. Because 9 times 3 is 27, and 13 times 3 is 39. But let me do them all for you, just so you can see them. 27, 39, those don't mesh. I suspect none of these will. 39 is a very strange number. 27 is too, in a way. There aren't many things that will multiply or divide to give you those. And that is the case with all of these. None of them will multiply or divide evenly, except A. So the answer to number 15 is A. Okay. Number 16, I've got Dana is throwing a party and 3/4 of the people on the guest list have confirmed they will attend. What fraction is equivalent to the confirmed guests for Dana's party? So we're looking for an equivalent fraction to 3/4. So let's compare. I'm just going to do it right here. 3/4, and see if we can make this happen. Won't there, but this one I could divide by 5 to get that 4. The B, let's see if we've got 3/4. I'm liking this one. So 12 divided by 4 and 16 divided by 4. That one works. This one, 3/4. I can get that top one to work by dividing a 4, but not the bottom one. And then letter D. I'm getting tired, guys. I'm sorry. This one will work by dividing 3 here, but that won't work here. So my answer is looking like B. I like to think through all. Number 17. Shane plays a fourth of a hockey game. Luca plays the same amount as Shane. How much of the game does Luca play? So we're looking for an equivalent fraction to 1/4. And let me just bring that right in here. 1/4. So we can get this bottom division to work, and we can get the top to work. Problem is they're not the same division, so that is not the answer that I'm looking for. 1/4, I can get the top to work and the bottom, but they're not the same division problem. This one, I can get the bottom to work, but not the top. Well, actually, I can get the top. I'm sorry. By 3. And those work, but they're not the same problem, not the same number, top and bottom. So it all hinges on this one. And sure enough, divide the top by 2 and the bottom by 2, and you will get 1/4. So the answer here is D. Number 18. Kyle makes 7/9 of the free throws he attempts. So 7 out of 9 shots go through the net. What fraction is equivalent to Kyle's free throw record? So we're looking for something equal to 7/9. So let's try this one. I don't think I could get division to work top or bottom on that one. On this one, 7/9. Same thing. I can't get it to work top or bottom. This one, however, I can get it to work top and bottom. And it looks like, sorry, I used the wrong color, because that is going to be the one I want. You're dividing top and bottom by 5 to get that one to balance. And then this one, I can't get top or bottom. Neither of those would be even division. So C is the one I am looking for. The answer to number 18 is C. Number 19. Pamela swims 3/5 of a kilometer. Vivian swims the same distance. How far does Vivian swim? So we're comparing to 3/5. And I'm just going to stack them up right here. On the top, I can divide by 4. That'll work, but it will not work on the bottom. 3/5. On the top, I can divide by 3. And on the bottom, divide by 3. I think that's the one. This one, I could get the bottom division to work okay by 4, but that will not work on the top. And then on this one, neither of them will divide down. So I'm thinking the answer to number 19 is B. And finally, number 20. In a bushel of apples, 6 out of 30 of the apples are found to be rotten. What is an equivalent fraction to the amount of rotten apples in the bushel? 6 out of 30. Let's take this one. Whoops, giving it away. 6 out of 30. So let's see if we can build this up to work. 1 times 6 is 6, and 5 times 6 is 30. So that's one of the answers, and I believe we only have one this time. 6 and 30. The top will work, but not the bottom. And 6 and 30, we can get this one to work, top and bottom. It's just that it won't be the same top and bottom. The top is times 6, the bottom is times 10. Same thing here. I can get it to work for sure. 1 times 6 is 6. 2 times 15 is 30. But we need those to be the same, top and bottom. So the answer to this one, number 20, is A. And we have finished this very long lesson, but it has some good problems and some good skills in there. Again, if you want to print the page that you're seeing right there, that's perfectly fine. Those are my writing only, so that's okay. And I'll see you in the next video for practice 11, where we will start, I believe, adding